Welcome back, everybody. Ready to dive into something pretty fascinating today.
I am indeed always ready for a deep dive.
We're going to be tackling Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power.
Oh, classic.
It is. And, we've got some excerpts here, some really juicy bits.
Oh, good.
And we're going to try to pull out, I guess the most useful and cunning insights from them into how to wield power effectively and maybe even ethically.
Right.
So think of this as like your cheat sheet to understanding the often unspoken rules of influence.
Okay, I like it.
All right, so first up, we've got Law 6, court attention at all cost.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it really grabs you right.
It does. It really does.
Greene argues that in a world that's just drowning in information,
Right.
standing out is not just an advantage, it's like a necessity.
I agree.
He uses a really great example, the con man Count Lustig.
Oh, no, there's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Tell me about him.
Well, he was infamous. And this guy, he basically cultivated this air of mystery and intrigue to stand out, especially in like a crowded hotel,
Like, yeah?
And he used that to draw in potential victims for his scams. He understood that attention, even if it was through deception, was the first step to influence.
So how can we use this idea of courting attention ethically,
Right.
like in our own lives?
Yeah, it's not like we all want to be con men.
Right.
Well, it's all about the nuance. You have to identify what makes you unique and then amplify those qualities.
Okay.
Think about the most memorable people that you've met.
Hmm.
They usually have this magnetism, like a personal brand,
Yeah.
that just draws people in.
Okay.
How can you cultivate that for yourself in a way that feels authentic and compelling?
That is a great question. A great question to consider. All right, let's move on to Law 7.
Okay.
This is get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit.
Oh, this is a tricky one.
Ethically slippery.
Yeah, definitely.
So Greene's point here, I think, is that effective delegation is crucial for anybody
Right.
who wants to achieve great things. Right?
Yeah, you can't do it all yourself.
You just can't do it all yourself, right?
Right.
So the art of it is making sure that the credit is shared
Right.
and that those who are contributing to this success are acknowledged and rewarded.
Recognized, yeah.
So he uses the story of Thomas Edison
Ah, good old Thomas Diss.
and Nikola Tesla
Yeah.
to kind of illustrate this.
Oh, yeah, how so?
So Edison tried to claim credit for Tesla's work on the AC system,
No way.
even after initially rejecting Tesla's ideas and refusing to support his research.
Wow. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Oh, the classic tale of taking credit where credit is not due.
Oh, it's a good story.
Did it backfire on him?
Totally.
It did.
Yeah. Tesla's genius was eventually recognized, and Edison's reputation suffered.
Hmm.
The takeaway here is that delegating effectively is more than just passing off tasks.
Okay.
It's about empowering others, recognizing their contributions, and creating a good environment where everyone benefits.
So you're building a team, not just stepping on people to get to where you need to go.
Exactly.
All right, so Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim.
Ooh,
A little cloak and dagger.
little bit.
So the core idea here is strategic vulnerability.
Okay.
Think of it like this. Like a well-placed act of honesty or generosity
Right.
can lower someone's defenses,
Yeah.
and then they're more open to your ideas or your requests.
It's kind of like disarming them in a way.
Disarming them, yeah.
Right.
Greene uses the example of Yellow Kid Weil.
Oh, wow. I don't know this one.
Oh, you don't know this one?
No. Fill me in.
He was a con artist.
Yeah.
And he would disarm potential victims with like this initial gesture of generosity before he pulled off his elaborate cons.
So kind of buttering them up?
Yeah, I mean, we're not advocating con artistry,
No, of course not.
but there's a lesson here about how to build trust and rapport.
Right, right,
So how can we use this idea of selective honesty
right.
without resorting to, manipulation in everyday life?
Well, it's about being authentic and genuinely helpful, but without expecting anything in return.
Okay.
When you approach interactions with that spirit of generosity,
Yeah.
it just creates a foundation of trust and goodwill, People are more likely to be open to someone they see as genuine and giving.
Oh, so it's like that social bank account.
Yeah, exactly.
Deposits of kindness.
Deposits of kindness, exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude.
That's a good one.
This seems very practical.
Very practical, yeah.
What do you think about it?
Well, this law really highlights how effective it is to frame requests in terms of mutual benefit.
Okay.
So instead of begging for help or relying on sympathy,
Right.
you highlight how helping you will benefit them as well.
Ah, so they're getting something out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
It's win-win.
A win-win.
Greene uses the example of the Corinthian ambassador
Okay.
who needed to secure a crucial alliance with Athens. Oh.
And by framing the alliance as mutually beneficial,
Okay.
he was able to persuade the Athenians to join forces.
Gotcha. So it's finding the win-win,
Okay.
highlighting the what's in it for me factor
That's exactly.
for everybody involved.
Makes sense. Wow.
Makes total sense. Okay, Law 14. Pose as a friend. Work as a spy.
Okay, now we're getting sneaky.
A little sneaky, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
Now, before you go picturing yourself in a trench coat and fedora,
Right.
Greene isn't saying to be unethical, to spy,
Okay.
but to be informed,
Okay.
to understand people's motivations,
Yeah.
and be aware of what's going on around you in your field, in your area of interest.
Okay, so not literally a spy,
They're not literally a spy.
but just observant.
Observant, yeah. So strategic in gathering information.
So savvy, not shady.
Exactly. Savvy, not shady. Love that. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous.
Interesting.
So wouldn't a fortress offer protection?
You would think so, right?
Right. But Greene argues that isolating yourself can actually make you more vulnerable.
Interesting.
He compares the approaches of Louis XIV
Okay.
and Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi.
Wow.
Louis XIV built Versailles to keep potential rivals close, where he could see them, whereas Emperor Qin isolated himself in this massive palace and ended up losing touch with his empire and was overthrown.
Wow. So it's like keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Exactly.
So find that sweet spot between strategic solitude,
right.
where you can, think and plan undisturbed,
Yeah.
but stay connected, stay engaged, and stay informed.
Stay in the loop.
Stay in the loop. How do you strike that balance?
That is the question.
It is the question. All right, this next one is a little intense. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew.
Oh, it's going to be good.
So we're entering the realm of psychological manipulation here.
A little bit, yeah. Be careful with this one.
So Greene's point here is that everyone has vulnerabilities, right?
Yep. Pressure points?
Pressure points that could be exploited.
Right.
And, he used the example of Lola Montez.
I was just thinking about her.
Were you?
Yeah, top of mind.
She used seduction and charm to manipulate powerful men.
Exactly.
Now, we're not saying go down that path at all.
No, not at all.
But think of this law as a call to develop your emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So the better you understand what makes people tick,
Right.
the better you can communicate and connect with them.
Right. So it's about empathy, not exploitation.
Empathy, not exploitation.
Knowing what motivates people, fears, aspirations to build stronger relationships.
Stronger relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. Ugh, this one gets me.
No, why is that?
I am such a sucker for a good deal, even if it's ultimately not a good deal.
Yeah, the allure of free.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But Greene really dismantles that idea.
Yeah.
He argues that anything offered for free often comes with strings attached.
Hidden costs, for sure.
Hidden costs, yeah.
Right.
He uses the example of the Spanish conquistadors
Oh, yeah.
and their search for El Dorado.
Oh, the City of Gold.
The city of gold, yeah.
That's a good one.
They were blinded by the promise of something that wasn't there.
Yeah.
A free lunch that doesn't exist.
Right.
And it was their downfall.
It led to their ruin.
So are you saying there's no such thing as a free lunch?
Not necessarily, but you got to be discerning, especially today.
Especially today.
You got free trials, freemium apps, social media, all this stuff.
All free?
All free.
It's not really.
Often what seems free on the surface, it has a hidden cost.
Hidden cost, yeah.
Your privacy, your time, your money.
Wow.
Be aware of the trade-offs.
The trade-offs, okay.
True value often requires an investment.
Okay, I like that. Final law for this section.
Okay, let's hear it.
Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes.
Ooh.
I feel like this applies to anybody who is following in the footsteps of a successful parent, mentor, or predecessor,
Yeah.
right? What do you think?
Well, Greene uses the example of Louis the Kick-Thief, who took over for the legendary Louis IV.
Wow. Talk about pressure.
I know, right? And he really struggled to get out from under his grandfather's shadow.
Okay.
And he never really lived up to his legacy.
Wow.
Expectations can be crushing.
Yeah, how do you carve out your own path
That's the question.
when you're constantly being compared to, a giant?
You have to realize you don't have to fill their shoes.
Okay.
You create your own.
Make your own.
You learn from them, but don't imitate.
Yeah.
Focus on your own strengths and vision.
Okay.
Build your own legacy.
So honor the past, but don't be bound by it.
Exactly. You build on the foundation, but you add your own unique bricks.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
Building on the foundation, adding your own bricks. Okay.
You know, these laws are fascinating.
They really are.
You can apply them to so many things.
So many different areas of life. Yeah.
And like, how about politics?
Oh, in the political arena.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting that Greene doesn't actually focus on politics specifically, but so many of his laws, they really apply to the dynamics of power that we see in political systems.
Yeah.
For example, Law 13, appealing to self-interest, not mercy or gratitude.
Okay.
So imagine a politician who's trying to pass a bill.
Okay.
They could appeal to their colleagues' sense of duty or compassion.
Right.
But if they frame it in terms of how it'll benefit their constituents or even their own political agendas, that's where the real persuasion comes in.
Like you said earlier, finding the win-win.
Exactly. For everybody.
And in politics, where everyone's always fighting for power.
Oh, totally.
Understanding your opponent's thumbscrews, like in Law 33, can be so valuable.
Oh, Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of bordering on manipulation, though?
It can be. It's definitely a slippery slope.
Okay.
But the point is to understand people's motivations.
Their fears, desires, vulnerabilities.
Right.
This knowledge, you can use it to find common ground, to negotiate, to build alliances.
Okay, so it's more about strategy.
Yeah.
Understanding all the players.
Right.
Kind of like chess.
It is like chess. You have to anticipate your opponent's moves, but not to destroy them, but to achieve your goals within this complex web of relationships and power.
Right, so you're playing the game.
I'm playing the game, exactly.
And speaking of anticipating moves,
yeah.
Law 14 comes to mind. Pose as a friend. Work as a spy.
Right.
Information is everything in politics.
Oh, it's currency.
It's currency. Knowing your opponent's weaknesses, their alliances, their strategies.
It's a huge advantage.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Makes you think of all that goes on behind the scenes.
High position research, lobbying, all of it.
All of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really about staying informed, understanding the landscape.
Yeah.
But again, ethically.
Ethically, always ethically. Because if you don't, history shows us it can backfire.
It can backfire big time.
Watergate, for example.
Huge, yeah.
Okay.
The pursuit of power without ethics.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster.
It is a recipe for disaster.
Okay.
Okay. Law 18, avoiding isolation.
Okay.
Politicians are always surrounded by people.
Right.
How does isolation even play into that?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
But isolation in this sense can be more subtle. A politician who surrounds themselves with yes men shuts out dissenting voices, loses touch with their constituents. They're isolating themselves from reality.
So it's not just physical isolation.
No, it's about being open to different viewpoints.
Different perspectives, yeah.
Even the ones that challenge your own.
Challenge you, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which leads us to Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes.
Yeah.
We see this a lot with political dynasties.
Oh, totally.
Where someone's trying to live up to what their predecessor did.
Oh, trying to be like the next Kennedy or Gandhi.
There's a lot of pressure.
There's a ton of pressure.
And it happens outside of families, too.
Right.
Any leader who follows a transformative figure faces that challenge.
Of how to make your own mark.
Exactly, how to build their own legacy.
So how do you step out from under that shadow?
Well, you have to find a balance between continuity and change. Acknowledge the accomplishments of the person before you. But don't try to imitate them.
Be your own person.
Be your own person. Bring your own strengths and vision to the table.
So it's like building on a foundation, but adding your own,
your own architectural flair.
Exactly.
And in politics, it's about understanding the zeitgeist, what's going on.
Old times, yeah.
Yeah. What worked in the past might not work now.
Right.
You have to adapt to the changing landscape.
To the current needs of the people.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's move beyond politics for a second.
Okay.
What about the business world?
Oh, the corporate world.
The corporate world.
That's a good one.
How do these laws apply there?
Well, let's start with Law 6. Court attention at all cost.
Okay.
In the business world, it's so crowded.
It is.
You have to stand out.
You have to stand out, yeah.
Whether it's innovative marketing, a unique product, or a strong brand.
It's a strong brand, yeah.
Capturing people's attention is key.
You got to cut through the noise.
You got to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
Make your brand memorable.
Make it memorable, yeah.
And that's where Law 27 comes in. Play on people's need to believe.
Okay.
Think about how brands create this sense of community,
Okay, yeah.
this feeling of belonging.
Right.
They tap into desires,
Right.
aspirations,
Mean anxieties, even
meaning
like
anxieties, yeah.
to build a following.
Exactly. So you're not just selling a product.
You're selling an idea.
You're selling an idea, an experience, a feeling.
And that ties in with Law 37, create compelling spectacles.
Oh, yeah, the spectacles.
Think about like Super Bowl commercials.
Oh, yeah. Or those viral marketing campaigns.
Everybody's talking about them.
Exactly. They're designed to grab you.
Capture your imagination.
To create a spectacle that people want to be part of.
So it's like they're saying, look at us. Look what we're doing.
Exactly.
And it translates into brand awareness.
And sales.
And ultimately sales. Yeah.
And speaking of connecting with people.
Yeah.
Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others.
Oh, that's crucial in business.
That is crucial, yeah.
Building trust is everything.
It really is.
People are more likely to do business with a company they believe in.
Absolutely.
A company that shares their values.
Right. So it's not just about the bottom line.
It's about relationships, credibility,
right.
creating a positive impact.
Yeah, it's about more than profits.
Exactly. Business is a human endeavor.
It is, yeah.
It's about connecting with people.
Connecting with people, yeah. And, of course, just like in politics,
yeah,
you got to know your competitive landscape.
You do.
That's where Law 14 comes in again.
Right. Gathering information about your rivals.
About your rivals, yeah. You have to understand their strengths and weaknesses.
Right. But again, ethically.
Ethically, always ethically. It's competitive intelligence.
Not corporate espionage.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's revisit Law 7, getting others to do the work.
Right. Delegation.
Delegation. That's key in the business world.
It is.
But as we said, it's not about taking advantage of people.
No.
It's about empowering your team.
Right. It is leveraging their expertise.
And making sure everybody benefits.
That win-win.
That win-win, exactly. And that ties back into Law 13.
Right.
Appealing to self-interest.
Aligning your goals with the goals of your team.
Creates a motivated work environment.
It does. Everyone feels like they're part of something bigger.
That shared purpose.
Exactly.
Okay, one last question about business.
Sure.
What about Law 40? Despise the free lunch.
Okay.
Businesses are always looking for a deal.
They are.
Ways to cut costs.
True.
How does that fit in?
Well, there's a difference between being strategic and being cheap. A good leader understands that sometimes you have to invest.
Invest, yeah.
In quality, in expertise.
Right.
To pay a fair price for what will help you in the long run.
Okay, so sometimes a deal
Can end up costing you more.
costing you more, yeah.
If you sacrifice quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Corners.
Yeah.
Ah,
You get what you pay for.
exactly.
And you also have to value your own time.
Your time and energy, that's right.
Yeah.
Don't waste time on bargains that will distract you.
From your real goals.
Exactly. Invest wisely.
Invest wisely. Be wary of the deals that are too good to be true.
Too good to be true, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get a little more personal.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's see how these laws apply to our everyday lives.
All right, let's get personal.
Let's get personal. Think about Law 4. Always say less than necessary.
Oh, that's a good one.
Sometimes it's better to listen than to speak.
Absolutely.
To observe rather than react.
Yes.
We could all probably learn from that a little bit.
I know I could.
Right. What do you think? It's about choosing your words carefully.
Yeah.
Not oversharing.
Right.
Not dominating the conversation.
Right, just be more mindful.
Be present, be mindful. Sometimes silence speaks volumes.
Silence speaks volumes, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about Law 6? Court attention at all cost in our personal lives.
Okay.
How do we apply that without, becoming a drama queen?
Right.
Right.
It's not about being loud or flashy. It's about cultivating the qualities that make you stand out in a good way.
Okay.
Being authentic, engaging, genuinely interested in others.
Building connections.
Building connections, not putting on a show.
Not putting on a show, yeah.
Right.
And that ties back into Law 12, right?
It does.
Using selective honesty and generosity.
Yeah.
To strengthen relationship.
To build trust, to build rapport.
To build trust, to build rapport.
Yeah.
And it could be simple things.
It could be, yeah.
Like being a good listener.
Absolutely.
Offering to help.
Or just expressing appreciation.
Yeah, those small gestures can go a long way.
They really can.
Now, what about Law 18? Avoiding isolation.
Oh, that's a big one these days.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in our own routine.
Our own little bubbles.
Our own little bubbles, yeah. But we have to stay connected.
We do.
We have to nurture those relationships that bring us joy and support.
Making time for friends and family.
Yeah.
For the things that nourish us.
For the things that nourish us, yeah.
And being open to new experiences.
Yeah.
New people.
New people, yeah. Isolation can lead to stagnation.
Absolutely, both personally and intellectually.
So get out there.
Get out there.
And engage with the world.
Engage.
And don't be afraid to be a little bold.
Take a chance.
Take a chance, yeah.
Yeah.
That brings us to Law 28, enter action with boldness.
Ooh, I like that one.
So how do we apply that to our personal lives?
It's about taking risks, pursuing our passions, and not letting fear hold us back.
So instead of overthinking everything,
just go for it.
Just go for it, yeah.
Within reason, of course.
Within reason, yeah.
It's not about being reckless,
Right.
but about being decisive.
Okay.
Calculated risks.
Right. Don't let fear paralyze you.
That leap of faith.
That leap of faith, exactly. Okay. There's one law I want to talk about.
Yeah.
That seems so relevant today in our social media world.
Oh, which one?
Law 46. Never appear too perfect.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because it seems like everybody's trying to project this image of perfection.
It's true. Everyone's trying to curate this perfect life.
I know, but Greene says that appearing too perfect can actually hurt you.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I think he has a point.
Yeah.
When you seem too perfect, it creates distance.
It does, yeah.
It makes you seem untouchable, unrelatable.
So it's better to be authentic.
Be yourself. Embrace those flaws and imperfections.
Because people connect with vulnerability.
They do. They connect with authenticity.
And when you're willing to show your flaws,
you seem more human.
More human, more relatable.
It's not about hiding our imperfections. It's about owning them.
Owning them, yeah.
Embracing them, it's what makes you unique.
And that actually ties back into Law 25.
Recreate yourself.
Recreate yourself. We're not stuck with the identities that, society puts on us.
Right. We have the power to change our own narratives.
That's so empowering.
It is. We can choose who we want to be.
And it's an ongoing process.
It is. Always evolving, growing, learning.
Being comfortable with who you are, flaws and all.
Exactly. And that confidence is attractive.
It is. It is. Okay, let's wrap up with a law that seems kind of tough, especially today.
Okay, which one?
Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter.
That's a powerful one.
What does that even mean in our personal lives? It sounds kind of ruthless.
Well, remember, Greene is not talking about violence.
Oh.
It's a metaphor for the power dynamics in relationships.
Even personal relationships.
Even personal relationships.
So how do we interpret this ethically?
Yeah, it sounds like divide and conquer. Think of it this way. Sometimes you have to deal with a dominant person. Someone who has way too much influence.
Like a controlling friend.
Exactly, or a manipulative family member.
Yeah.
And the best way to deal with them might be to address the source of their power.
The shepherd.
The shepherd, instead of fighting the sheep.
So understand the root of the problem.
The power dynamics, and go right to the source.
Okay?
And that might mean setting boundaries.
Right.
Standing up for yourself.
Not letting yourself be controlled.
Exactly. Reclaiming your own power.
Your own autonomy.
Exactly.
That can be hard.
It can be, but it's essential for healthy relationships.
So interesting. All these laws.
They're so thought-provoking.
They make you really examine yourself.
Your behavior, your motivations.
Yeah.
It's like Greene's holding up a mirror.
Yeah.
Showing us our desires, fears, our capacity for good and bad.
It's a reminder that power is a double-edged sword.
It can be used for good or evil.
And it's up to us
to choose how we wield it.
This has been a fascinating discussion.
It really has.
I'm seeing the world differently already.
Me too. Me too.
That's the beauty of Greene's work.
Yeah.
It challenges us to think, to question, to be more aware.
Of those subtle dynamics of power.
Yeah.
It's like he's giving us the key.
The key, yeah.
To the hidden language of power.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to use that knowledge wisely.
Wisely and ethically.
Wisely and ethically.
Always.
Well said. Our listeners are going to have a lot to think about.
I think so too. Lots to ponder. We've covered a lot with these 48 laws.
We have. Some are definitely more, cunning than others.
Right.
But they give us a glimpse into how influence really works.
They do.
I find it interesting that Greene often says that true power comes from restraint. Knowing when to hold back, when to be patient, when to be indirect.
He talks about the power of silence, doesn't he?
He does. Like Law 3, conceal your intentions.
Oh.
It's about strategy.
Right.
Not showing all your cards too early.
Keeping them guessing.
Exactly, like a poker game.
Yeah, a good analogy.
You don't want to reveal everything right away.
Right, you want to keep them in suspense.
And sometimes the best way to get what you want
is to let others think they're in control.
Oh, lull them into a false sense of security.
Oh, exactly.
And that's where observation comes in.
Oh, absolutely.
Greene emphasizes that, right?
He does.
Becoming a student of human nature.
Right.
Observing behavior.
Yeah.
Understanding motivations, desires.
Even weaknesses.
Even weaknesses, yeah.
The more you understand people,
yeah.
the better you can navigate these power dynamics.
Right. You can protect yourself from being manipulated.
Exactly.
And you can use your own influence more effectively.
More ethically.
More ethically, yeah. It's like developing a sixth sense for this stuff.
It is. The more you observe, the more you learn about yourself and the world.
And that learning process ties into Law 25. Recreate yourself.
Ah, yes. Self-invention.
Greene says, we're not fixed.
No, I'm not.
We can adapt, evolve, shape our own narratives.
We have the power to change, to become who we want to be.
It's about taking ownership of your own evolution, breaking free from limitations.
Right. Not letting others define us.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message.
It is.
We're not defined by our past.
Or our circumstance.
Or other people's expectations.
We can choose our own path.
We choose who we want to be, how we show up in the world.
Exactly.
And that self-creation takes strategy.
It does.
Which is what Greene's all about.
Throughout all 48 laws.
He talks about thinking ahead.
Right. He does, anticipating your opponent's moves.
Having a backup plan.
Playing the long game.
Exactly. It's not just about winning one battle.
Right.
It's about having that long-term vision.
A strategic plan.
A strategic plan to reach your goals.
Like chess.
Like chess. You got to think several moves ahead.
You can't just react.
You can't just react, yeah. And patience is key.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the most strategic thing
is to do nothing. Wait for the right moment.
Wait for the right moment.
Let things unfold.
Let things unfold.
Yeah. That ties back to Law 33.
Discover each man's thumbscrew.
Understanding those vulnerabilities.
Yeah, the pressure points.
But not exploiting them.
Right, using that knowledge to find common ground.
To persuade. You get what you want ethically.
Without manipulation or coercion.
So, using power responsibly.
Ethically. For greater purpose.
Than just yourself. Sour in itself.
Is neither good nor evil.
It's a tool.
It is.
It can be used for anything.
It's all about how you use it.
That's what makes these laws so interesting.
They really make you think.
They're not just rules.
They're a framework for understanding how influence works.
For navigating human behavior.
And ultimately, for shaping your own life.
This has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
I'm seeing things in a new way.
I think our listeners will too.
Power is a tool.
Use it wisely.
Use it ethically.
And use it to create the world you want. Could have said it better myself. So, until next time, stay curious, stay informed, keep questioning everything, and keep diving deep.
Absolutely.